Knight Frank is a commercial property organisation. We have about 850 employees in Australia, spread across multiple locations. And it's quite a complex organisation. You might not think that, when you look at it as a real estate organisation, but because we do everything from what we'd sort of say commercial agency, so the buying and selling of, large skyscrapers, and then we also have a professional services business. I came to Knight Frank just over 4 years ago and was a little bit surprised at the lack of systems that we had. We were using the payroll system for some things. We had a system that we were using for onboarding and performance management, but it was very basic and very much disliked by the business. And then pretty much everything else was run through spreadsheets. So that was one thing that was a big priority for me coming into the business was, creating an environment where we had a better user experience from an onboarding, a recruitment.
We realised an out-of-the-box solution was not the answer. We needed something really customisable and really flexible, and that's really how we ended up with Zoho. It's user-friendly, it's flexible, and ultimately worked for what we needed.
My team, or I'm responsible for everything to do with people in the business. So that ranges from talent acquisition or our recruitment side of things. So obviously they use Zoho Recruit, and through to the operations team who kind of do all the behind the scenes stuff. So again, they're using Zoho People and also Zoho Recruit. Then we have a specialist reward and performance team. This is, like day in, day out using Zoho pretty much for everything. So the reason why we decided to go with a partner, and having had that experience, done it without a partner and with a partner, I knew that it was really important for us to work with someone else to help us through that process. So yeah, I'm so glad that we chose CCG.
With Knight Frank Australia, we have been engaged with them since the late part of 2021. We've gone through and we've introduced a whole range of new systems and processes to help them with their entire employee management process.
We really sat down step by step to really understand how Zoho would come into the processes that we already had, what steps would be taken over by Zoho, and ultimately the result was a really efficient process.
They really took the time to understand us as a business and what we needed. Ultimately, we wanted to build something that would capture every different type of remuneration that we have, which in an organisation of this nature is quite complex.
One of the big challenges that Knight Frank had prior to implementing Zoho People was that every time there was a new employee to come on board, to go through this massive long template and determine which particular clause should go in this contract. So what we did is we designed a structure in Zoho Writer whereby we've had a significant number of conditional rules. But then the next thing we need to do is get a digital signature. And so we implemented Zoho Sign associated with this. And so when the process has been merged, when they've got the contract ready, we send the contract out through Zoho Flow. So it goes and picks up the mail merged contract that's been uploaded into Zoho People. It then sends it out through Zoho Sign to go and get collection. Once it's been signed, then that brings it back into Zoho People for us to then go through subsequent actions where we can kick off our onboarding process and collect more data.
We had a pretty poor system that we were using for that previously, and people were pretty frustrated with it. Yeah, I think using Zoho for everybody was a kind of a welcome relief, that it was quite user-friendly and also aligning people's KPIs to our organisation strategy goals, that all of that was pretty easy for us to do in the back end.
Zoho for me in particular, but also the wider business, has been very much a game changer. Zoho has given us the opportunity to not only still gather the information that we need, but it's completely changed the way that we do things.